This week, we are back. It's my birthday week. We have one of the most positive human beings on the face of this earth this week, checking in from Costa Mesa. Our guy, running back for the Los Angeles Chargers, Joshua Kelley.
Happy birthday, DK. You're back. We're back. NFL is back, and we got 500 level merchandise for our guy, Joshua Kelley. There's 20 different shirts on 500level.com, DK. What a stand-up human being, great football player. Get 20% off everything on 500level.com with the discount code ONESTAR. Get that Josh Kelley shirt in time for kickoff on Sunday. Let's go!
So what's good, y'all? This is Josh Kelley. I'm with the One Star Recruits. These guys are actually 5 stars, though. Here with the Bolt fam, baby. Let's get it. Let's have a great year. Bolt up, baby.
Yo, aloha. Welcome to the One Star Recruits podcast. It feels great to be back. Great to have a 5-star guest, and even more amazing to have a 5-star community of 1-star family and friends out there in the world. Rip, we took our first 3 weeks off this podcast in, I believe, 2.5 years. Noted why, and we're going to talk about it here. We're in day 28 of post Lahaina fire as we record this, and the horrendous fire that really took down my entire home of Lahaina. And my home did burn down, listeners. I know there's some social media going on and some stuff. So I want to tell the story about that a little bit today. I want to run listeners and you, Rip, through the last couple weeks, get an idea of the seriousness of the situation, but also a side of humans that I haven't seen in a while. That was really, really terrific. The resilient side of humans, the ability to help each other out. So I'll kind of run through, Rip. Well, and it's a somber situation, but feel free to jump in, ask any questions. I want to kind of just go through then and now a little bit to give listeners an understanding what this life has been about and this situation in Lahaina. And then we'll get to something positive with Joshua Kelley. Does that sound good? Is that chill?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, DK. Like you said, it's we went over 100 straight weeks of episodes. It took a natural disaster to get us off, and like you said, DK, it's your birthday today, Wednesday, September 6th. Happy birthday. So we got positivity in the air. Josh Kelley, amazing guest, pure positivity, and we're back, man. I'm glad to see you, glad to hear your voice, and happy to be back.
Thank you, man. It feels really good to be back, to do something semi-normal again. Feels great. I'm wearing a Smitty's shirt for all the Arizonians who ever shopped at Smitty's on McClintock and Baseline. Will represent. This shirt is courtesy of you, Rip, along with all of my clothes who have came from friends from all over. And we'll talk on that. I have people to thank. But let's do it. Let's get back to the morning of August 8th. It was, Rip, I believe I texted you pretty early. I think it was a podcast day. Is that right?
It was a podcast day. It was a Tuesday, and we were going to record that morning, I think 11 a.m. your time. And you texted me early. I know you get up early out on the island, and you said something like, we got some high winds. My internet's down, so it'll probably be back on in like an hour or two. So I'm like, all right, let's shift it. We'll record a little later.
Exactly. So that was the hurricane, which nobody was concerned about at all going into the week. 0 people were concerned about this Hurricane Dwyer, which is about 200 miles south of the island, outside of heavy winds. So we wake up that morning on the 8th, no internet, which is a bit strange, but then immediately no electricity. And especially in the morning in Hawaii, the way that my house sat, the sun hits it pretty hard. So that's an immediate just, okay, let's get the windows closed down. Let's keep it as blacked out in here as possible. Go ahead and go on about our day. But I'll let you know, Rip, look, the internet's out. This happens before when it gets super windy. At this point in time, about 6, 7 in the morning, the winds really are picking up. I have outdoor blinds that are ran electricity on electric, and the electric's down. And I'm just watching my investment, bro, in these outdoor blinds. I'm just getting ready for them to be ripped off of that was my biggest concern on that day, pretty much until about 2:00 that day. Luckily, they stayed intact, but I was just watching. That's how intense the winds were. There was trash flying, but not paper trash, full big boxes kind of flying through the complex, and it was super windy enough to go out and try to let the dogs go to the bathroom, and their whole face is, you've taken your dog in a windy day, they're not into it. Nobody was into being outside, and it was pretty damn hot.
At that point, just to interrupt for a second,
yeah.
Did you know there was a fire somewhere on Maui, and how far away was it? Or you had no idea there was any fire at all?
Outside of the electricity being out and the internet being out that day, no, it was a pretty normal day. My wife went to work. I got up. I was getting ready for the podcast. I was putting together some breakfast. As soon as I realized I don't think the podcast is happening, I hopped out and just got my workout in. This was about 10 o'clock. So I'm normal day. I'm doing a workout. There's no fire is not a thing that even exists in my mind or even close. In fact, fire is not a thing that really exists in my mind ever. We've had a couple brush fires over the past 2 years on this side of Maui, but they've been contained to the kind of the hilly regions, not in the neighborhoods, not where there's concrete, definitely where there's not ocean, so wasn't a concern. If anything was a concern in my head for my safety of my house, my family, and I was maybe a tsunami, maybe a big tidal wave would come through. These are the things when I was getting insurance that I was thinking of. So at this point, no. And as the day goes on, it's hot. So I get back from my workout. I have a protein smoothie. I should have checked my mailbox. There's things in my mailbox that went down in this fire as well that I would have liked to have from that day. But I decided to take a nap because it was hot. So I take a nap. So I lay down. This is about 12:30 on that day. Super, super windy, but super hot. Dogs are hot. I'm hot. Kimmy also, my wife has no internet service or phone service out at her hotel, which is about 15 miles north of Lahaina in a place called Kapalua. So here's kind of where the angels start to enter my life and kick in. And it's pretty surreal because a handful of things had to happen for me to even be talking to you on today, Rip. This is kind of when it started going. So about 1:30, Kimmy called. She said, I'm going to come home. I don't have, my phone's dying and I don't have internet service. There's not much I can do here today. I'm just going to come home. I said, great. She called me again. She was driving through Front Street. She called me again to say, hey, there's a coconut that the wind is picking up that's just moving down Front Street. It's nothing too crazy. Kind of were her exact words, but she says it's very windy. I can see some roofs starting to go. It's super windy, but she just wanted to drive down Front Street to see what was going on. She came home. She hopped in the house, put on her clothes that she's home for the day. I hopped in the office to see maybe one more last chance that I can get some internet. What's going on? She starts doing some work calls, work from home. We're making a little snack. I think we're having some little pretzels, dipping them in mustard, something I learned from Trash Talk Boys, my guy Train. And I get a knock on the door. At this point in time, it's windy and it's hot and there's an energy in the air. So I get a knock on the door and it's my above stairs neighbor, this guy Kyle. He's from Colorado. He's an amazing surfer. He's an amazing waterman, outdoorman. He's a man, Rip. You know what I mean? And he has a look in his eyes that just says, hey, we're thinking about evacuating. This was the first time I opened my door and I really smelt fire. You could smell it. It was in the air at this point in time. I was like, you're going to evacuate? I was thinking brush fire in the hills. And he lightly said, yeah, we're just going to go to some higher ground. He had just picked up his cousin in town and we're going to do some brews and just see how what happens here. But it doesn't feel good is what Kyle said. So I turned to Kimmy. I said, Kyle's getting out of here. And he had a look in his eyes that maybe we should get out of here. So we had about 15 minutes where we went back and forth, Kimmy and I, and this is about 3:45 in the afternoon. 15 minutes for us to just go back and forth. Should we go? Should we go with Kyle? Should we go on our own? During this conversation, this smell turns into a black cloud. And at this point in time, it hits our house so that within the condo, we can barely see our hands in front of us. It's action time. Never really been in a fight or flight like this before, Rip. This was completely action time. This was not grab your passport, not go grab grandma's letter, this was grab the animals. I grabbed a backpack, which turned out had one t-shirt and some other useless shit. I'm still glad that I grabbed it. Nothing that I would have liked to grab in a never come back to your house sort of manner. We grabbed the two dogs and I run to the car, bro, like Travis Hunter at this point in time. I slapped him in the car. I grabbed the car and I get Kimmy. She was just throwing on some shoes and coming out. She's run. At this point in time, we cannot see our hands in front of our face. This black cloud of smoke is definitely in our neighborhood. What do we know now is it was ramaging through the neighborhood above us, literally burning everything in its path. And the big cloud of smoke was the Island grocery store, which was right above us, kind of northwest of our house. So that was the big cloud of smoke that really hit us hard, but we put our track shoes on, we're running. Kimmy's a better driver than I am. Everybody knows that I'm a shitty driver. It's known to the world. So she hops in the driver's seat, and this is a second angel. She takes over, this just amazing being of right decisions and confidence and strong driving moves. We would have, you saw the pictures, Rip. We came down out of our neighborhood. We took a left. We were blocked off because they were letting a Lahaina Luna neighborhood, everybody out, as they should be. Neighborhood of 200 houses. Just get out as quick as possible. At this point in time, there's humans walking by the car with ash bodies, completely ashed up, banging on the car window. There's tin roofs flying at us, 60 miles per hour that she's avoiding. All the power lines are down and on fire at this point in time. So she takes a right towards Front Street to just stop from we're stopped, and this black cloud is coming at us more and more and more. Front Street's where you see the pictures in the news of all those cars coming. This is the next angel part. She decided to take a left on Front Street. If she would have taken a right, it would have gone to the water over by Tommy Bahama's, over there, but towards the Safeway. We would have been a number if she didn't decide to turn left. So she goes left. She makes a handful of amazing moves, movie-esque moves, to get us out there. Driving over lines that are down fire. There's now fire on our left. There's no fire on our right because it's the water still. But the big cloud of smoke's now behind us, and we're in a line of traffic, trying to get out of that north side of Front Street. We're trying to move, and so we have the dogs. They're going crazy. That black cloud of smoke's coming. We're stopped. We're not fully panicked yet, but we're pretty damn panicked. We still don't know that the place is burning down. That's for damn sure. And we start hearing pops, loud pops. Those were cars that were catching on fire and blowing up. And that's when we hit the panic button. And she made just some amazing moves. She took a left. She avoided some things. She moved through a neighborhood that was pretty blocked off by police. And we can get into what happened, whose fault it was, things that were good or bad on a future time. In this moment in time, it was really survival. We also only had a quarter tank of fucking gas. So it's a realistic thing. If we keep idling, chilling, waiting for our turn, we're going to run out of gas. So she got onto the Poly, the freeway, the 30, the only freeway eventually. She got out. So we got out of Lahaina. This was about 4:35. If we would have stayed on Front Street, either north or south, we were going south towards Kihei. North would have been, unfortunately, a turn of death for us. We would have been a number. We would have been a number and a name, in all honesty. So full angels working there. What usually takes about 30 minutes to get to the next stop, which is the Malala Pier. And people who have been to Maui know there's a gas station there and there's some restaurants and stuff. That takes usually about 35 minutes with a little bit of traffic. This took about 3 hours. Nobody's moving and everybody's just watching this black cloud of smoke chase us. But we made it. We made it to the gas station. We made it all the way to Kihei, to where our friend was. We just got to really our only friend who was not in Lahaina, who was in a town called Kihei. We got out of the car, got the animals to the bathroom, and just grabbed ourselves for about 15 minutes, bro. This time it's about 8:30, 9 at night. We're there for about 15 minutes before this time our phones start blowing up. The sound you never want to hear, that sound of emergency sound. I've only heard it 3 or 4 times in my life. We all got it at once. There was a fire in North Kihei, about 20 or 30 yards from where we were staying. And this one, I could look out the backyard and I could see fire. The other one, I couldn't. It was just black smoke that we saw until we started driving. So we packed up our shit, packed up the dogs, and I'm Travis Huntering again. We run into the car, and we get to higher ground, and we get to Maui High School eventually that night. We're at Maui High School for 2 nights. And then we start getting the texts of Lahaina's gone. How's my house? My house, we think the building's gone. How's our neighbors? We think they jumped in the water with their kids. How's the craziness, right, Rip? The craziness starts coming in. And it was just the most wild 2 days, surreal days. The only way I can explain it to listeners, to you, it was the worst nightmare that I've ever been in my life. Literally, you have dreams of, hey, man, I was in this dream, and I don't know, I was in Hawaii with, some people that we know, and all of a sudden the whole fires were on site and we were running for our lives, and then you wake up, or you go into another room, and then suddenly you go into another room, and it's a girl that you had a crush on in third grade who's making Jello with a buddy that you work with or something. And how dreams work. This one was the nightmare side, and it wasn't every day. It was getting worse and worse. And what we got to, and we're still processing. I'm still processing. There's lots to process, even as I talk it through now. It's heavy. It's heavy shit. And so what came out negatively was that stuff were lost. Lives were lost. Cultures were lost. Homes were lost. A couple things for me that were important to me were lost. But guess what? Nobody in my household was hurt or died. So we're okay. That's what I've told all the people who reached out, which was so amazing. I mean, huge love and shout out to everybody who helped out with the Venmo rip. You put it up there on the internet. That money helped us get some essentials the first couple of nights, a meal, a Target run, and a couple of things. But 75% of that $4,000 raised by our little community of one stars went right back into neighbors in that community who are doing more serious things than Kimmy and I right now, who we got out. We're okay. The human love that came through. Rebecca's place in Kihei, that opening up, and she with open arms, and her landlords and her neighbors really coming through. Thanks to my guy TK. So just to wrap this up, Rip, a little bit more, my story here was we were there. Our house is gone. My wife still works on the other side of the island, but we can't get there. Her job is a hotel. It's no longer a hotel. It's now a shelter. We have to decide what we're going to do next for the short term. And going back to her hotel was an option, but it was also a place where we want to leave open for others to take advantage of that resource. If there were other resources available to us. And a good friend of mine, Trevor, was able to come through with a vacation house that his family has here on the island of Kauai. So we've been here for about the last 10 days, Rip. We've been on the island of Kauai. Kimmy's been going back and forth. She was back last week for 3 days, still not able to get to our house. Still in the fire range zone. So looking to get forward some closure on that eventually. I don't think I need to see it, but Kimmy wants to see it. So she'll be going back and forth. Huge thank you to Trevor and his family for this, though. This was kind of that nightmare into another dream where all of a sudden I'm on a vacation house in Kauai, and my mind just really is having a hard time comprehending the transitions of all of this in general. It's ready to record a podcast and make myself a smoothie, Rip, on Tuesday the 8th with you. My normal life. You know, big thank you to all the listeners who sent the money, but who sent the texts and the messages, and just the real human instinct that we've lost. We've lost for a long time. This country as a whole, I think since 2016, kindness is not a thing that's readily available. It's been readily available the last 28 days, bro. Hoka, the Golden State Warriors, the Santa Cruz Warriors, my amazing family, my vets for my animals, my Maui golf crew, who immediately supplied me with clothes that are cooler than any of my clothes. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just that grateful for those clothes. You know, my family, my pops, my mom. My pops really stepped up in ways that I couldn't imagine. You know, thank you. My mom, the sweetest woman ever. My sister, my in-laws. So many people, Rip. You know, Janelle, your family, your kids, the Trash Talk Boys family. Not the stuff. The stuff is amazing, but it's the love, you know. And we need a lot of help still on the west side of Maui. Nothing's changed. It's going to be a 3, 5, 10-year process. We're not running. Plan your trip still. If you're going to go to Maui, you know what? You know, deal listeners, Rip, you're a value guy. This is not a disrespectful thing. Values are to be had. The next wave of the fire was bad. Loss of life was bad. Loss of culture was terrible. The next wave is going to be an economic fire unless we step up a little bit more as people. And I don't have the answers. I mean, it's scary for me to think about going back to Maui, and I've been gone for 2 weeks now, but I'm going back, and we got to support this island. There's travel. You know, you can hop on an online Maui business and buy a pair of slippers like my stepfather Jeremy did. You know, United Way. We've talked about that. The food bank. There's some good orgs that still need help. Keep helping. What I'm noticing, Rip, as this new cycle moves on, as NFL kicks off, Maui and Lahaina are falling out of the conversation a little bit. And The whole city is gone. Generations, think of your hometown. This isn't, don't think of DK here, who's been there for a couple years and lost his condo. Think of the families maybe from your neighborhood who were there with generations of families, 5 or 6 generations deep, with all their children's stuff, all their other deeper memories, without opportunities for more housing. There's no more housing. There was already a problem. So I encourage everybody to keep it front of mind. Post your pictures from your time in Lahaina. Remember those good times. What I'm getting feedback from too is how much of a special place it was to so many people. It will come back. It won't be the same Lahaina that we knew, but it will come back. But it won't move as fast as it needs to be if we forget about it. So that's my message, man. That's my message. My feelings are, I haven't processed it yet. I've had some moments. I've had some moments where but I'm on the move. This is a grateful gesture that my friend Nikolai offered up. But in 4 days from now, I don't have a place to live. We're still looking. There's not a lot of housing available. So I'm one of 7,000 that this is happening to. And I'm confident that it's going to work out for us. I'm nervous that it's not going to work out for a lot of people without the support of the country, the whole country. It's beyond money. I think it's in storytelling, it's in compassion, and it's in resilience in a way that we need more than ever. There's a big fear that this town, this place of Lahaina will turn into maybe a ghost town and then a reservation and just a relic of what it used to be, the Salton Sea. And I'm not going to allow that to happen on my side. And I hope the listeners, you, Rip, everybody who's been touched by this place, take that to heart. And that's what I got, man. It's day to day. It's day to day. Routine has been amazing. Getting back and doing this podcast, having Josh on the podcast, getting able to talk about Alohi and what he's doing in Hawaii, what Max Holloway is doing for the people of Lahaina, Tamua, Chad Owens, all of our guys. If you're not following them, follow them. But things are happening and leaders are stepping up. Just please don't forget about Lahaina as we rebuild this town, man. That's my message.
It really is crazy how quickly life can change, man. And it really, when you when you talk about it, it sounds like something, from a movie. Like most people obviously have never been through anything like that. And it was a crazy day. It's been a crazy month. And yeah, just to also add, man, like Evan Longoria, dude, from the D-backs sent some money to you, right? Like people that I've known from like 20 years ago that have never met you, just listen to the pod. Like, yeah, it's amazing, man.
It's unbelievable, man. It's the good in humans. That's what I want to take from today's podcast. That's why having Josh on was so important. He's got a stressful job. He's a handcuff running back. Nobody expects a lot out of him. He has a smile every day on his face, and he's grateful to be doing what he's doing. And I'm grateful to be doing what I'm doing. And I'm grateful to be alive. With that said, Chargers fans, NFL fans, get ready, baby. Enjoy this interview with Joshua Kelley.
Now joining the One Star Recruits podcast, we have a husband, a soon-to-be first-time father, a native of Southern California, a UCLA Bruin, a fourth-year running back for the Los Angeles Chargers, Joshua Kelley. Thanks for hanging out with the One Stars, Josh.
Oh, yeah. No, thanks for having me. I really appreciate that intro. That was fire.
Oh, hey, we love it, man. But we're glad to have you right on the kind of the cusp of the season opener here. But this interview, we're One Star, so I want to start it off with a one-star question. It's going to be super basic, but neither DK or I really have any clue about what it's like to do your job. But I'm always curious about this question because there was a really good running back in the early 2000s for the New York Giants named Tiki Barber. He had a well-known fumbling problem. So to fix it, he kind of changed the way he held the ball. He held it up higher, and the rest was kind of history. So just a little bit about your job on the Chargers. For all the One Stars out there that only watch these things on TV, as a running back, when you hold the ball, are you holding it as hard and tight as you can at all times? Because you had like a 75-yard touchdown run against the Niners a couple of weeks ago. Is it just full strength grip on the ball 100% of the time you have it?
That's a good question, honestly. It's not really. I've been doing it for so long. It's like something I don't really think about as much. It's like brushing my teeth. It's like it's so like numb to me now. It's like, dang, I've been doing this for so long. So to that point though, like I feel like when I do think about it, it's like it's really strong and secure. Like, and I have it across my body. I think it's one thing to be secure with it, but you have to have it across because it makes it a lot more tougher to like punch and lots tougher to strip it. So yeah, honestly, like you are gripping it really tough, especially during contact. I think that's when it is when you're like really like strong with it. But in open field, you gotta
Yeah.
spread.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to keep those muscles loose on it. That's actually a
Hey,
good question, Rip.
exactly.
I thought that might have been a terrible question.
No, that's a
That is
good
a good
one.
question. I think
It
about
is.
that sometimes. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Dude, you're doing something right, bro. And the coaching staff, when it comes to really squeezing the best out of that roster, has been making it happen. The Chargers record has improved, listeners, every year that Joshua Kelley's been on the squad. What's the feeling down in Costa Mesa, man? A lot of folks are talking about the energy being right in the building this year. You feeling it?
No, definitely. I definitely think the energy is being right. I think for us, man, there's some dudes I've been here with for a long time now, like 4 years. Like that's a whole college term. It's so like I feel like there's some camaraderie there, there's some energy, there's some excitement there. And I feel like it's cool because like this is like first week of the season. So, everyone's excited and juiced about it. So I definitely think it has been different. It's just how camp has gone, preseason has gone. There's a vibe.
Yeah, it's coming together, dude. Actually, our guy who was on the podcast, I'm here in Hawaii, Alohi Gilman, who was drafted in 2020 with you.
Nice.
So that's that draft class. Herbert too. He's been amazing helping with the Maui wildlife fires and just being a great all around human. He's also expected to be a leader on the D this year. So we're excited to see, to Lowe and James next year. What are you seeing in practice with these guys on defense?
Man, the defense, bro, they look so good. Like it's been crazy. Like those guys are so competitive and it's fun like going against them every day. Like honestly, like I've improved so much because not only just so many great players, but it's just like they're really competitive. They want to get out and they want to make you better. So like it's been awesome like playing these guys and they're so excited this year. Like you can just tell like the way they're playing, their communication, their juice, man. And it's gonna be crazy to see like them live and how great they are flying around. So yeah, shout out to Lowe though, man, because that's a guy that I've been here since literally he was like one of the few guys that's still here from that class. So he's been a great guy, man. I'm just excited for him.
6th round pick doing his thing. Yeah, I'm hearing ball hawk. I hear he's focused as ever in his calm, cool, collected way. So let's go Chargers D, man. How about this is a little different because it's not going to be 100% normal season for you. You got married in March. Big congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Eckler just got engaged, which makes Rip and I think that love is in the air in that running back room. Watch out, number 28. He's about to get it, man.
He might be next, right?
Love Buck's coming, 28.
Right.
For real though, you're expecting a baby in December. What are you most nervous about, and what are you most excited about?
Thank you. I appreciate you guys for like knowing that because that's huge for me because I'm like, man, like it's crazy like being like about to be a dad. That's like a different feeling right there. It's like, wow, like, am I ready? But I'm like, I believe I am. But one thing I will say I'm a little bit nervous about is like, everyone's told me like, hey, bro, you're going to lose a lot of sleep. And like, they're like, you're going to be up and you better get all the sleep now. And I'm hearing that from like several people. So I'm like, dang. And, we're expected later in the season. So it's like, I wonder how it's going to be like, during that time period, you know how it is later in the year. It's like your body's tired.
Yeah.
You're a little bit worn out, a little bit mentally. So it's like, dang, like I wonder how that's gonna go. But everything else, I'm just really excited to meet him because it's like, dang, like having a boy is my first. That's kind of crazy. So I'm excited to meet him, man.
It's crazy. And I'm glad you know the sex. Rip actually had a stupid idea. He thought that you could maybe do a gender reveal during the game where you spike the ball and the ball is pink or blue.
Hey, that would have been hard. Honestly, like
that would have been a big fine, I think.
No, it would have been, but it would have like just imagine someone doing that. They would have went viral, it would have gone crazy. Like
huge.
That's such a great idea, honestly. Like, hey, let me get a ball and bam, dude.
Yeah, like the lineman brings you in that ball real fast and it explodes. Rip, not as stupid, bro.
That's actually a good idea.
Let's go. I got to take it back. I lived in the Bay Area for a while and I went to I want to shed a little light on your history in a small NorCal town we don't talk about
Yeah,
enough. So JK was a 2-star recruit, played
yes,
two
sir.
years at UC Davis before transferring to UCLA as a
Yeah,
walk on. So listeners, we have a lot of alumni who are Chico State and UC Davis. A lot of 1-stars, Joshua. That's how it goes. What was
right.
the most memorable off the field moment in Davis? And same note, what was the best place you ate while you were in Davis?
Ooh, good questions. Oh man, so most memorable moment off the field. I gotta admit, so and this is funny. So we're playing Hawaii, 2015. This is like freshman year, and like I think camp is over at this point, and all the students are coming back. So then our coach is like, "You guys got to make sure you're moving dorms, you're changing places. Like, make sure you guys are on time at the bus at 5:30 because we got a long flight to Hawaii." I was like, "All right, 5:30. That's when the bus leaves." So then, I'm in the dorms chilling, and I forget to set my alarm. So then this is it gets bad. So then I forget to set my alarm. So then, I'm just sleeping, I'm knocked out. And all of a sudden my roommate doesn't make the trip. So he's just chilling. So then my roommate like taps me, he's like, Josh. He's like, bro, it's like 5:20. He's like, you gotta go. And I looked up, I was like, oh no. So then I panicked. And then for me, Davis is a bike town. So everyone has their bike. So I run down and I just get on the bike. I'm not even really packed because I woke up late. So then I just go off. I take off on the bike and I'm pedaling. And then I get there finally to the facility and then the buses leave. I'm like, oh man.
Shit.
Yeah, fast. I'm like, bro, like I was just so like nervous at that point. I was like, what's gonna happen? Like the buses just left. And then finally a coach stayed behind. He's like, he's like, I got you, dog. He's like, I understand it happens. He's like, you're a freshman. You're not the only one. It was like two other dudes who missed. So I felt better. But at the same time, I was like, dog, like at that time, I was like, bro, like, how did I miss the bus? But it was funny because just looking back at that, I was like, I won't do that ever again.
So, life lesson. How many
Yeah.
yards did you rush? Did you rush against Hawaii that game?
To be honest, I don't remember how many yards, but I did score. That was my first touchdown in college. So I
Nice,
scored it.
nice.
I scored that game. It was crazy. So I was like, wow, that ended up working out somehow. But
You
yeah,
got
it
you
was
got in that
dope.
zone. How about
Yeah.
Grub and
So
Davis? How about Grub and
yeah,
Davis?
yeah.
How about your Grub spot?
I want to say there was this burger spot downtown Davis. Does anyone know what it was called? I remember it was Burgers and Brew. I
Burgers and
believe that's
Brew.
what it is. That's one of my spots there. And then there was I want to say there was another spot. Obviously, I like Chipotle, Wingstop. I remember they were super close to each other.
That's a good memory. I'm just looking up Burgers and Brew, 4.4 stars on Yelp. There we
Yeah,
go.
Yeah, I
yeah.
got it up too. It looks amazing, man. Right
No, that was
behind
the
the
one.
dumpling, right behind the dumpling house. Looks
Yeah,
like.
that was the one. And Black Bear, sorry, Black Bear. I
Oh
was at
yeah.
Black Bear a ton, bro. The grits, like I used to
Pancakes.
order that. Yeah, the pancakes. It was exceptional there.
Davis, stand up. Thank you, man.
I
Yeah,
love
man.
that.
Shout out to Davis, bro. Bike Town. I really enjoyed my time there, bro. It was really nice. And Keelan Doss, he plays on the team right now. He was with me at Davis. So
Wow.
yeah, it was cool.
I love that. Josh, we end every interview with the segment we call 1 star to 5 star. We let you know at the top we're 1 stars. We're trying to get better with advice and tips from every guest we have on this podcast. So just a few questions here. We're going to use a 1 to 5 star scale, one being the lowest, five being the highest for the
Mhm.
answers here. Just people can tell from this interview already. You're a guy who seems like he's always smiling, always happy, even
Appreciate
when you're
that.
talking to reporters and 1 stars like us. What, what's some 5 star advice you can pass along to people on just really just bringing positive energy into every day?
Yeah, honestly, I think it would be stay true to yourself because I don't think you can fake it. Does that make sense? Or
Yeah.
I feel like people can see through it if you're like, oh, you're just fake positivity, you're fake sharing, you're fake, So I just feel like stay true to yourself. If you're someone who's really positive or someone who likes to look at the positive side of life, and that's who you are, just be that. Don't switch up, don't change who you are. If you're someone who's maybe not the most positive person, then just I don't know, just be you. I think that's the best advice because for me, it's like I don't fake who I am. Like I don't really just be over here like yeah, just faking it, just being smiling, happy for no reason. Like this is really who I am.
So
My
you've
family.
always been like that?
Yeah,
That's
honestly, always been that way since middle school, high school, college. Now, like it's just who I've been. My family, friends. it really just rubbed off on me, that positive, environment. So honestly, I think that's the best thing. Just be authentic, I think people respect you regardless of how you are.
And surround yourself with the same kind of energy, right?
Facts.
There's an interesting thing going on with your new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. If you look at the kind of the data of where he's been, Tony Pollard backed up Zeke Elliott down in Dallas, but Kellen used him a ton in that role, even as backup. You also back up a big star in Austin Eckler, and you have a lot of similarities to Tony Pollard with the downhill running and those kind of strengths that kind of suit Kellen's offense. So let's say on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, how much have you thought about kind of that comparison, and how excited are you to get going in this new offense?
Oh, 5-star for sure. Honestly, I think once he came, I really looked at obviously a lot of the run game and like the cut ups and everything. And I've been paying attention to what they've been doing for like the past 3 or 4 years now. And it was crazy because Tony Pollard was all over scoring, kickoff returns, long runs. Just he was going crazy over there. So I've definitely been paying attention to like how that combo went with Zeke and Pollard and everything. But yeah, I think to that point, it's just really cool to see like, hey, that's possible. It doesn't matter if you're starting or not. Like you can come in here and if you work hard and you give it your all and do your best, and hey, you can make plays and be a force in the offense. So I definitely think I'm paying attention to that. But he's him, I'm me. Everyone's a little bit different to their games and stuff like that. But I really appreciate that, man, because it's definitely something like it's on your minds. Like, dang, like pretty cool.
Hey, we got that little sample in that 75-yard run a couple weeks ago too.
Appreciate
The
that,
preseason.
man.
I mean, that was that your longest in the NFL?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely, man. And we need more of that. You know what I'm saying? More of it to show up during this season. So I'm excited, man. But just getting better and improving. I think that's one thing I'm like, hey, like that's dope, dog. I'm getting better.
Those are the rewards, man. Those long plays, those game changers.
Appreciate that.
All right, we got to close it out with one for the Bruins fans. You had back in 2018, you had an epic performance. I think it was 289 yards versus USC in that rivalry game. I think it's still the most ever by a running back in that long rivalry. UCLA, I know you were at the game on Saturday. You saw that win against Coastal Carolina. They're a fairly young team this year. What's your outlook for Chip Kelly and the Bruins this season?
Yeah, no, honestly, bro, they're really young, and I feel like the vibe I got is like those guys are excited to be there. Like you said, like there's just a lot of guys who have came and gone. Like they're a young squad, young quarterbacks, everything. But I just feel like they really are excited, and for them, man, I think they could do some damage. I feel like one thing I like about this season though is that they're not expected to do a lot. Like there's a lot of noise on USC, Colorado now, everyone else, Oregon, all these schools in the Pac-12. But for them, it's like they can win some games, climb under the radar, and shock some people. They got one of the best coaches in all of college football, Chip, and they got some great talent, great coaches there. So I feel like they can go over there and make some noise, man. I'm telling you, you can't overreact one season into college. I mean, 1 week into college. You gotta play it out. So
JK's ready, Rip. He's ready. Let me get that 8 clap, JK.
Yeah, hey.
There it is. There it is. Listen.
It'd be
you see that? Fight. Let's go.
We got some momentum going into that Big Ten next year. Everybody go follow Joshua on Instagram. It's at Joshua_Kelley_ and at SmoothPlayJK on Twitter. You got that. You see that wearing that number 25 jersey for the Chargers this season. Hey, Josh, best of luck in year number 4 and beyond. We thank you so much for coming on with the 1-star recruits, man.
Oh yeah, no, thank you guys, man. You guys aren't 1 star, you're 5 stars, baby.
Thank you, homie. Thank you. We needed that right now. We appreciate you.
Special thanks again to Joshua Kelley, number 25 on the Chargers, DK. We love the Chargers on this pod. We actually have another Chargers guest next week to start off the NFL season. But Josh Kelley, great dude. I like when you told him he's not just a handcuff to you. Really good running back. If Eckler goes down, he's going to step up. But man, the Chargers have a tough road out of the gate. It's like 6 straight playoff teams to open the season. It's Dolphins on Sunday, then Titans, then Vikings, then Raiders. I don't know if the Raiders are a playoff team. Then Cowboys, then Chiefs. So they got like a murderer's row to start the season. But let's see our guy Josh get the rock a little bit, DK.
It's nice to get tested a little bit early in the season. Yeah, that Raiders game is not a playoff team or a tough matchup, Rip. Don't slip them in there like that. We will not make that mistake. But a couple of these teams that I want to talk about definitely are in there. Some are. it's time this week for NFL kickoff. This is the moment we've all been waiting for so many weeks of Little League World Series. And what did we endure, Rip? There's lots of enduring stuff that is not great for sports fans as soon as the NBA was over. Good news is we're back. The One Stars always have got sleeper fantasy picks who are set to have big years on and off the field. We got that covered. What we don't do as often is hop out on some games that we like. And we're not going to do this every week because, to be honest, Rip and I aren't the best bettors. And I'm not the best predictionist with the NFL or any sports for that matter. Actually, Rip, you're decent. I take that back. You're decent. I give you a lot of shit. What I want to do, though, bro, for this is I saw 6 games that jumped out at me in week 1 with lines that I like. Let's see if we're on the same page or not. Like a good relationship, a page check. Let's see if we can make some easy money here for people. You down?
Let's do it.
All right, game 1. We got the Eagles over the Patriots for DK, for your boy here. -4. I think the Eagles are going to be a really great team. I think they're going to have a hard time losing this entire year, to be honest with you. They're another Super Bowl contention squad. Some may say, hey, they lost Hargrave, and it's going to be tough to replace some of the coaching staffs who are running the engine on that defense. Well, they picked up Jalen Carter. They added Nolan Smith. That offense got better. Hurts is going to be... I'm doing everything in my power to get him on my fantasy teams this year. Rip is the moral of the story there. So I think the Patriots get whooped. I think Mac Jones tries his best but doesn't come through. I like 31-17 Eagles. How about you?
I'm on board with that. I think I'm worried about the Eagles defense a little bit because they lost like half of it. So I think if their defense is a little worse, they might be in a lot more shootouts. But I think you're right. I don't think the Patriots can keep up with scoring with them. So yeah, 31-17 sounds about right. Maybe even like 38-21, somewhere around there. But yeah,
Lots of points. Maybe take that over too, bettors, if you're on that game. This one a little controversial. I mean, no, not rocket science, but if Joe Burrow doesn't play, if he's up in the air, I'd like the Browns, Rip, 2.5 over the Bengals. Is that crazy?
I think it's crazy. There's a lot of hype about Deshaun Watson trying to get back to the guy he was in Houston. I don't see it, man. He was terrible at the end of last year, and I think the Bengals are finally going to be that team that wins like 12, maybe even 13 games this year and gets that playoff game at home versus the Chiefs this year, which is what they need. So I'm going Bengals in that one.
They need that. So it's an important game for them. I think Deshaun's gonna rush for a couple touchdowns, and I think Nick Chubb goes for 150. So I'm gonna stay with that. I like the 2.5 there. Maybe say Bengals 25, or Browns 25, Bengals 17. We'll go with that. This was a more exciting game to me until I realized that probably Bosa's not going to play, and I'm hearing news that Kittle's not going to play. So with that said, Mike Tomlin's going to have the Pittsburgh Steelers ready for week 1. I like the Steelers plus 2.5 over the Niners.
I like that too. I actually got literal receipts on that when I was in Laughlin a couple weeks ago. I bet the Steelers +3 in that game. I just think the Steelers are going to be a little bit better this year, and San Francisco having to fly across the country and do that on the opening week, I think it's going to be a little bit tough. So yeah, I'm with you, Steelers. I had +3, but it's down to 2.5 now.
Yeah, I think a field goal wins this game. So Steelers are just going to be, I think, mentally a little stronger. And I give a guy like Bosa probably is good for 1.5 to 2 points. The way that he plays and comes off the ball. So we're on the same page there. Look at us, Rip. Simpatico, bro. Simpatico. This one, a little controversial too, man. Lions, the Detroit Lions, who I missed so much in Hard Knocks, although the Jets were pretty good too. Some cringe, some good. But the beloved Detroit Lions plus 6.5 over the Kansas City Chiefs. We don't know if Kelsey's going to play, Rip. Some things in the air. I think the Lions will come out hot, a la the Pittsburgh Steelers and Tomlin. I think coaching is going to have these guys ready to play. I'm going to take the Lions plus 6.5 over the Chiefs.
I'm actually with you on that too, man. I want to disagree with you, but yeah, this Kelsey news has me a little bit shook. Our fantasy draft is tonight, Tuesday night, so it's throwing me off right now. And I don't think he's out there for game 1, man. A hyperextended knee is no joke. Why risk it? But I think it's gonna be a close one. I think the Chiefs will probably get him by a field goal, but yeah, to take that 6.5 points with the Lions.
Yeah, I like that. I think exactly that. Maybe like a 31-28 Chiefs. I'm cool with. People sleep on Jared Goff. Very good, productive quarterback, just not sexy. And dude, I'm excited about mostly on this defense. I think Hutchinson's going to be the guy, going to be the next Aaron Donald possibly on that turf and just rushing at quarterback. So stay tuned for that Lions plus 6.5 over the Chiefs. Last one, lots of discussion in the group chats on this game. I think you've been talking a lot about this particular game, but this is easy money that even the sharps are on so far. That Packers +1 over the Bears. Nobody believes anything in the Bears at all, Rip. And I think that the Packers are going to do a good old what do you call it? A mukbang. Packers 37. Bears will be lucky to get 21.
All right. I'm going against you on this one because I actually have a receipt too that I bet the Bears under 7.5 wins like 2 months ago, but I've changed my tune. I think they're going to be good. I think Justin Fields is going to be a lot better. And I think that the Bears are going to beat the Packers, and not only because I took them in our wins pool, so I need the Bears to get some wins this year, but I think they're going to start out fast. I could see Fields going for over 200 on Sunday.
Okay, there it is. So off the same page, but I still respect what you're throwing down. That's what we love about week one. Lots of unknowns, especially because energy and how pumped up you are plays a large part. How prepared you are and able to control yourself plays a part. Week one's sometimes great for better, sometimes terrible. Last one, Bills -2.5 over the Jets. The Bills are just a better overall team when I look at it on paper, and I think that they've been in more pressure situations before. So I'm going to take that -2.5 over the Jets. I know you love the Jets, Rip. What's your take on this game?
Hey, this is the final receipt I'm going to say because I made 3 bets and you're calling them all out. The last one, I sent it to our group text the other day. It was Jets. I bet right after they signed Aaron Rodgers, I took them. I think it was 15-1 to win the Super Bowl. I don't really think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think those are really good odds. And I think they're gonna shock the Bills on Monday, man. Aaron Rodgers is going to come out firing, and everyone's talking about him, and people are going to keep talking about him.
Should we be more concerned about this Stephon Diggs thing? Is he going to come out and just be a normal guy and have 14 touchdowns and we'll be all good? Or is this concerning that he kind of doesn't want to be there, it feels like?
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic. And when you see stuff like that come out, it always makes you second guess a team. But I think the bigger concern is like Von Miller's still out. So that Buffalo defense is a little shaky. I think Aaron Rodgers can kind of tear it apart, especially with those receivers he has now.
Gangrene. That man was out at the U.S. Open living his best life, man. A. Rodgers. In NFL future health news, our guy, former one-star recruits, a guest, Pro Bowl running back Ricky Williams suggested that the league should allow players to be treated with marijuana post-game. He said, quote, I think the next step, though, at the end of the game, if we were on a plane ride home, the trainer's walking down the aisles and has 2 capsules or cases, one of Ambien, maybe one of Vicodin. And the truth is, for football players, we need something because it hurts. And you're all revved up and it's hard to calm the pain and it's hard to go to sleep. I'd love to see cannabis as one of those things being passed out by the trainer on the plane when he's walking the aisle. Gummies or joints? Probably gummies, Rep, right?
Gummies or joints, whatever it takes. I'm not all in on the Ambien and the Vicodin because those painkillers can get addictive for a lot of players. But yeah, I mean the cannabis, it's 2023, man. It should be mainstream at this point. Let's get it on that. Not only charter NFL planes. Can I get some cannabis on a Southwest flight to Vegas at this point? I mean, from a flight attendant, that's what we need, man.
Or the option, calm people down a little bit. Sit down, people. Everybody's getting off the plane. It's a zipper effect. No need to stand up so fast. They need a little bit of freaking weed. You're right, man. You nailed it. NFL kicking off. We wish everybody in the NFL health. That's the one thing. We're getting ready for our fantasy drafts. It's already starting. It's part of the game. It's a violent game. But I think some rule changes are making things a little bit less violent, but it's why we love it. It's a very American sport, man. We love it, but it's also hurting people at the same time. I don't know. I'm pumped up. I got the YouTube Sunday ticket before the price went up to $600 or whatever it went up to. I don't have Spectrum TV I have to worry about anymore. YouTube TV for life, not a sponsor. I'm excited for NFL football.
I'm excited too. It's funny that you mentioned we're getting ready for our fantasy drafts. I think we're probably literally the only people that haven't drafted yet, and we're doing it tonight. You have the number 1 pick. This Travis Kelce news came out. You want to between me and you, tell me who you're taking with number 1, because all the rest of our league's going to hear this tomorrow morning after the draft. Let's
yeah. I mean, it's a PPR. Listeners know it's a PPR draft, and I will disclose it because I am picking Justin Jefferson again. I've had number 1 pick in 2 of my drafts this year, and I've gone with Jefferson. I'm going to go with Jefferson again. I haven't seen an athlete like him without Burrow being fully healthy. I don't know if I want to slide over there. And then we start talking about guys like Kelce, which news today maybe change things. I'm just going to stick with what I think is the right true thing. I love Austin Eckler. I love Joshua Kelley if Austin Eckler goes down. But in PPR, that man in Minnesota, hopefully he gets 15 touchdowns and does his damn thing, like I know he's going to do. With a number one pick, straight cash homie Maui will be taking Justin Jefferson.
No big surprise. I think that's who most people are taking. But yeah, man, it's there's a lot of interesting guys out there. The Bijan Robinson is some people think is going to be like the next Jim Brown, straight out of Tucson, Arizona. He's a beast. We'll see how the Falcons do, but
I would love Jalen Hurts to come back to me. That's the thing about first. It's so tough running back,
so tough.
So tough. It is what it is, though. Can't complain. Let's do a quick rec of the week here, Rip. Every week, listeners, anything that made us smile, made us feel good. Go ahead. What do you got? What's your recommendation?
This is not a surprise. We've talked about it, but we missed a month, and I actually had this written down in my notes for our August 8th episode, I believe. It was it's Hard Knocks, man. I'm recommending it at least once or twice a year, but I got it. If you haven't watched it yet, you're crazy. I've watched every episode. I think there's been 4 so far, and maybe one more this week, today probably. The final one, but Hard Knocks is always good. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, but they focus on the guy a lot, but there's always those other interesting tidbits. My only complaint about Hard Knocks this year is our guy Solomon Thomas is on the Jets, and they didn't really do any sidebar stories on him. He's such an interesting dude. He's got a great foundation, the defensive line. And unless I'm missing it on tonight's episode, they should have focused on him for 5 minutes or so, because he's a really good guy. His lost his sister to suicide, but is helping a lot of people out there cope with grief and that sort of thing. But always Hard Knocks, DK. There's not a year that goes by I'm not going to recommend that show.
Solomon has some freaking pipes too. How about his arm size? Is he in David Boston territory a little bit? Is he getting into David Boston territory with those arms?
Oh, he's bigger than that. He's a defensive lineman. He always does that, roll the sleeves up and roll the shorts up too. So his quads are popping out there on every episode. Number 94, you can't miss him. I mean, the dude's a beast, but he's also a hell of a guy and a really nice dude.
He's a nice dude. Rip is also the number one cuck for any guest who has been on the One Star Recruits podcast. Can't wait to see your fantasy draft, Rip. I'm sure you'll be picking Rashad White. I'm sure you'll be picking our guy in Jacksonville. I do the same thing, man. Can't help it. We love him. We love our 1-star guests.
Let's go.
I have a I'm gonna stick with Maui. I got to keep the vibe going, and my recommendations are so loving and thoughtful this year. It's amazing how normal life transfers to just the gratitude of other humans, and what my eyes see. Essentially, Rip has changed a little bit, but I want to keep the donation train and the awareness going. Donate to the Maui Strong Fund. It's hawaiicommunityfoundation.org. Google Maui Strong. Throw a couple bucks, throw a 20, throw a 50. That money's getting dished out in cash immediately to people who have bills that were due on September 1st that are going to have bills due again on October 1st, especially a lot of people who lost their businesses and homes. So donate to the Maui Strong Fund is my recommendation of the week. Anything you can do to Maui. I said in the intro here to the show, even if you just had some pictures, throw them up there and let people know that you love Maui and it's a beautiful place. Because we'll keep the dream alive until we rebuild. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Rip, hit the music. Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas are divorcing. Rip, if we had Montel Jordan, who's a anti-divorce club member, give them advice, what would he say to this famous couple?
Hey, he'd say you should have signed the million marriage contract on the Montel Jordan website that you can sign up there to vow to never get divorced. They should have done that, man. They would have still been going strong, DK.
Team USA lost to Lithuania at the FIBA World Cup. Also, the Ryder Cup, which is a golf event, is set, and the Euro team is freaking loaded. Has the world passed the United States in both basketball and golf?
No way, not a chance. It's always a hot take and a good headline, but when you dig down deep, I mean, we just battered Italy by 35 points in basketball. We're not, and this is with like our B team. We're not gone, DK. If we ever get our best players out there, we're still on top.
Florida State hammered LSU, including former 1-star recruit guest Jaden Daniels. Is it the player's fault or the coach's fault when you get blown out by a team that's worse than you?
Definitely the coaches. I mean, they had all off season to prepare for that game, and Jaden didn't play well, but I think he was put in a bad position by that staff. And man, I'm glad I'm not an LSU fan because that was ugly, DK. I was pumped for that game to watch him. It's coming out party again, but man, just what a bad way to start the season for LSU.
Smash Mouth lead singer Steve Harwell died at 56. A lot of alcohol intake. He beat his liver up, but he had a really good 56 years. Rip. Give us, please, with your best voice and mean it. Let's hear it, All Star. Let's hear you sing it. Belt it out for us, baby.
All that glitters is gold. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get paid.
Let's go. Let's go. Have some fun this week. Support Lahaina. We'll be back next week to talk NFL Week 1. More Chargers. We have another Chargers guest. We're going to mix it up. 5 stars is the best way you can say you enjoyed this episode. Hit us on Spotify or Apple. We love you. We'll be back next week.
It's good to be back. Glad you're alive and well, DK. You and your family and your dogs. See you next week.
Utes.